What the heck happened with StarFox? There was supposed to be a reveal in April, and April has came and went, and nothing has happened here. This was from Nate the Hate. Nate the Hate, one of the premier insiders or information brokers, the guy that let us know that the Nintendo Switch 2, the exact week and day that it was going to be happening, and it happened back in January of 2025. So he's definitely trustworthy, but he got this one wrong when it comes to StarFox. So we're going to go over what happened, his response, and if this game is actually going to be coming out, because I have a little bit more to add on that. Plus, we've got a bunch of great and interesting Nintendo Switch 2 information. But before we continue on, we are giving away a Nintendo Switch 2. All you have to do to enter is hit that subscribe button if you aren't already subscribed, and drop a comment below. We are giving away a Nintendo Switch 2 once we hit 150,000 subscribers, and it will be random. So the more that you actually comment and interact, the better chance that you have to win. Hit that like button, click that notification bell, and let's go ahead and jump right back into it. So let's start off with StarFox, the reveal over on Twitter. Nate the Hate still feels confident that StarFox is happening, but he gave some reasoning to why we didn't see StarFox at the intended target point of April for a reveal. Over on Twitter, Charlie says, Nate the Hate 2, is the new StarFox game still being announced this month? That was on April 24th. Nate responds with, this month was the intended window for announcement. If the timeline has changed, I don't know. Someone else responded with, is StarFox a real game? We need answers, buddy. Nate responds with, as said several days ago, I do not doubt the game's existence. Several outlets / people have spoken on the game beyond me as well. Timing for reveal was off the mark and wrong. That's a miss by me. Another commenter said, if I may make a suggestion, it would be worth considering not mentioning specific timelines in the future. Just saying the game exists is honestly enough. On that note, have there been any updates on the Kirby Planet Robobot port? Does it at least exist? Nate responded with, yes, sharing specific timing was an error in retrospect, and I should have left it simply as a game was coming this year. Live and learn. So it's one of those things that I have to agree with that last comment. I think Nate obviously does a great job at what he's done. He's been really accurate with a lot of things. Obviously, the Kirby Planet Robobot port, that hasn't happened quite yet. Fire Emblem 4 Remake also haven't happened quite yet. But Nate's been on target with so many different things. So I do think all he needs to do in the future is just say, hey, they're working on a new StarFox game. Getting the potential timing and all that, that's stuff that can change. There's things that can happen. They can switch around stuff. Remember, Nintendo went even as far to announce a release window for Xenoblade Chronicles 3 back in 2022, then decided, well, wait a minute, no, it's not going to be at that time. We're going to flip it with Splatoon 3. So Splatoon 3 is going to be coming out later, and Xenoblade is going to be coming out sooner. So even after they announce something, the plans can still change, and that's something that Nintendo has done a number of times. So that would be my advice to Nate as a friend as well. Hey man, just, you can let us know about something, but you don't give us exact timing, because then people are going to be on him about it. And yes, he did get that wrong. Now, is the game still real? Some people are saying that the game is fake now because of this. I don't think so. I think the game is still real. And like Nate said, there have been other outlets. VGC as well has also stated that they know that the game is real. Necrofelipe has stated that he knows that the game is real. So there are multiple sources that are saying this, and it's not like it's stemming from a fake thing like the StarFox racing situation. Shout outs to my man Roger's Base. It's not like it's like that. So I do feel that StarFox is still real. Now, when will we get the reveal? I think it doesn't make it past June. I think that Nintendo is probably going to have a Nintendo Direct sometime in June. We have their investor meeting that's next week, so we're going to figure out the sales, or we're going to find out more like it, the sales of the Nintendo Switch 2. We're going to find out updates for different Switch games like Pokemon Pocopia, Mario Tennis, and more. So there's going to be information and news coming out from that. There's Yoshi and the Mysterious Book. That's going to be coming out at the end of this month. So there's still plenty of things to talk about and stuff to kind of take us to the end of the month in May, then get ready for potentially that big Nintendo Direct. And I think that since Nintendo did not do a spring direct like they've done before in the past, I think that this next upcoming direct is going to be a big direct packed full of a ton of stuff for the second half of the year. first and third party wide. So we'll wait and see how all that turns out, but I still feel that StarFox is going to be happening. I just think that with the movie, when it comes to the Mario Galaxy movie and having StarFox in there, there's no way that they didn't plan that. There's no way that that wasn't something that they were looking at to bring back in the same vein as they did with Donkey Kong when it comes to the Mario movie back in 2023, then having a big Donkey Kong game in 2025 right there within the launch window-ish of the Nintendo Switch 2. So I do think that StarFox is still coming, and we might be able to see it maybe at the next Nintendo Direct, or maybe even on a random day in May here. So we will find out about that. But what do you guys think when it comes to StarFox here? Do you still feel that it's real? Do you still feel that it's not coming? Do you still think it's going to be announced at a Direct or something? Let me know in the comment section below. All right, moving on to the next topic. Let's discuss what is happening with the new digital physical pricing with the Nintendo Switch 2. This is something that I talked about a bit here, but now we have an anomaly. We have something that is not necessarily common, at least with the Nintendo Switch 2 era so far, but we're having big retailers now price matching each other when it comes to the digital versions of games. We're getting games physical that are going to be the same price as digital at big retailers like Amazon and Walmart. So let's check this out. This tweet is from Nintendo. He says, "This is big. Amazon has now price matched Walmart's $10 off MSRP deal on the new Switch 2 physical releases, bringing them down to the same price as digital. Splatoon Raiders, $49.94. Yoshi and the Mysterious Book, $59.88. Both of those will be cheaper when it comes to the physical release at Walmart and Amazon than what we would have expected for the physical releases. Now, Nintendo put out a statement a bit ago where they said they are not raising the price of physical games. There have been people, and even still big content creators like to dress up in banana suits, that like to tell people that they raise the price of physical games compared to digital. And that's not been the case based off of the actual facts that we have here, because once again, Splatoon Raiders is $60 physical, which is definitely under the MSRP of $70 that we usually see. So it's actually a little bit cheaper at $60, and then it's $50 digital, which we haven't had a $50 Nintendo Switch 2 core game like a big franchise like Splatoon, even if it's a spinoff. None of that has ever been 50 in the Switch 1 or Switch 2 era. Maybe a few games like WarioWare or something like that, but WarioWare's not to the level of Splatoon when it comes to that. And it's not like this is just DLC. This is a full game. So we haven't had anything that low. And Yoshi and the Mysterious Book, that is a $70 physical game, and it's $60 digital. $70 is the MSRP. So right now, at least at this point, Nintendo is definitely holding to, they didn't raise the price of physical games. They actually just lowered the price of digital. And if you look at what's happening here with Amazon and Walmart, they are matching the digital price, but with the physical games. So if you want a physical copy of Splatoon Raiders or Yoshi and the Mysterious Book, you're going to be able to get it at pretty much the same price as the digital copies, which is pretty cool. Some people can't choose between digital or physical, and I think that it makes things a little bit easier now. So if you want a physical copy, it's going to be the same as the digital. Some people might say, oh man, I like physical, but that $10 off over the course of a generation, you're going to save quite a bit. So if we can have Walmart and Amazon matching the digital prices for big first-party Nintendo Switch 2 games, this is going to be great. But the true test, for me at least, when it comes to Nintendo not raising the price of physical versus digital and all of that, the true test is going to be, what do they do when it comes to the next big Legend of Zelda, or the next big 3D Mario, or the next big Animal Crossing, or Super Smash Brothers? These are the games that's going to be the test. Is it going to be like Mario Kart World, where they decided to go $80, $79.99 physical and digital? I'm hoping that Nintendo has put that behind them. MSRP, $70 for the brand new big games, $60 digital. And I think if they do that, that would be a huge W for consumers and everyone, because everyone's still thinking, well, not everyone, but a lot of people are still thinking that Nintendo could go back to the whole 80 situation because of what we've seen with Mario Kart World. And that was the one game. They've only done it once. That's just Mario Kart World. I'm not counting like Super Mario Bros. Wonder and all of that have a DLC packed in, because if that's the case, then obviously there's been other games that have digital deluxe editions that are $80. So we're not counting that, because that's extra content. We're talking about standard game, no DLC or anything else extra included. So there's only been one game, Mario Kart World. So I'm hoping that this is kind of a good thing. They see big or positive sales momentum, if people go out there and really say, okay, it's cheaper when it comes down to it. People have been complaining about prices for quite some time now. Now you're getting games for Wii U era. You're getting games for GameCube era when it comes to $50 and $60, physical or digital, at Amazon or Walmart here in the US. Take advantage of that. Let's see what it's really about. And if it drives a lot more people to go out there and pick up the Nintendo Switch 2 and the system, that is a net positive for all of us as consumers. So let's see what happens with it. But I'm excited because now I'm going to definitely pick up Splatoon Raiders and Yoshi and the Mysterious Book both on Amazon, or I'll probably just get that at Walmart because Amazon be acting crazy sometimes when it comes to the delivery. I'll probably just do online purchase, then in-store pickup for Walmart just because I know that they'll have it right there at launch. So what do you guys think when it comes to this with Splatoon Raiders and Yoshi the Mysterious Book? So far, Nintendo is holding true to that, hey, digital is cheaper, physical is the same price, and now you're even seeing stuff like Walmart, and now you're even seeing some of these big retailers that are matching the digital prices, so better for us as consumers, and of course, good choice as well. So what do you guys think about this? Let me know in the comment section below. All right, and moving on to the next topic, let's discuss Reggie Fils-Aimé. He actually talked about a ton of different stuff, and we don't have time to go over everything, but one of the things that I wanted to mention here that I think is kind of changing people's perspective and changing things along with the whole physical, digital, cheaper price for some of these games, that's awesome. Obviously, the Nintendo Switch 2 staying the same price right now. I'm crossing my fingers, no price increase for the Nintendo Switch 2, that being $450, while other companies are raising the price of their systems after being on the market for multiple years. One of the things that I think is also helping Nintendo is that they don't have the negative publicity when it comes to mass layoffs. And Mr. Reggie Fils-Aimé, former Nintendo of America president, he has talked about this and said that it is not in the Nintendo DNA to have big layoffs. And in my opinion, layoffs, when it comes to laying off big talented developers and all that, is super anti-consumer, especially when they're working on something that you potentially bought the system for, and then that whole company gets shuttered and laid off and let go. That's not good at all. So one thing at least you can think about here when it comes to Nintendo is that they're not going to do that. Now, not perfect. There's definitely stuff like the $80 Mario Kart, and there's other things that you can point at, but this is probably one of the best things that I like about Nintendo, that this does not happen. So here's what Reggie Fils-Aimé had to say recently when speaking at New York University, and he noted that Nintendo never wanted to be in an unfortunate situation to have to let thousands of people and employees go, which is why they decided to stay away from mass hiring sprees. So they've kind of planned things out a little bit better, whereas other companies will go on mass hiring sprees, and then when things get tough, we got to let people go. Nintendo doesn't do that. They kind of pick and choose. They're really cerebral with how they hire and pick people, and they steadily add when they know they can get it done and they know they can get past a rough patch. But let's talk about what Mr. Reggie Fils-Aimé had to say. Quote, "We thought about people from the standpoint that we never wanted to go through layoffs or mass eliminations of people. It just wasn't in our DNA." And I'm very thankful for that, because think about it for a second, guys. If you're at a huge company and that company's always having mass firings, or companies are getting shut down, or studios are getting shut down because their game didn't sell X or Y copies, you're going to be constantly looking over your shoulder. You're going to be thinking, oh man, I could be next. I mean, we've seen this, we've heard this from the employees that work at Microsoft, that work at Sony, that work at some of these companies. We've seen some of these people that have been laid off from Take-Two or Rockstar or other places. They still haven't been able to get jobs back in the gaming industry. It is cutthroat out here, despite the gaming industry being like one of the most profitable and biggest entertainment mediums in the world, right up there above movies and other things. There's still a lot of instability. We've seen that even with trillion-dollar companies when it comes to Microsoft and the layoffs, the mass multiple waves of layoffs that they've seen, or even like with Sony and Bluepoint being shut down. So that's one thing that I think is a good thing when it comes to Nintendo, that they don't have to worry about that, because they're going to hire intelligently. They're going to make sure that, hey, if something does go wrong, we have, I would say, the good people in place to where it's not going to be too crazy with the budget to where we have to let go of 1,000 people because we're not going to hit a certain profit margin, or these people aren't doing enough when it comes to game sales. So I think, for example, a company like Monolith Soft, if that was with somebody else, they might not be around anymore. Or even Retro Studios. What did they do for like the past 10 years before Metroid Prime 4 came out, and it's not like Metroid Prime 4 lit up the sales charts. It sold over 1 million copies, but considering how long that game was in development, that would speak trouble for a lot of other game studios. But for Retro Studios, it doesn't seem like anything's going to be happening major at that. So I'm definitely happy. Crossing my fingers too, though. I hope Nintendo doesn't do anything when it comes to reductions with Retro Studios, but it looks like they're in the clear despite Metroid Prime 4 not selling millions upon millions of copies. But I don't think Nintendo thought that game was going to do millions upon millions of copies anyway. I think they just wanted to get that game out for the fans that had been waiting so long. And it was a game that was announced back at the launch pretty much of the Nintendo Switch 1. So finally getting that out, and now Retro Studios can focus on something else. So we'll see what they do next. But to me, that's one of the strengths and benefits. Once again, not perfect with Nintendo, but definitely a very good thing when it comes to not laying off the talent. Because guess what, guys? We play video games, and who makes the video games? The developers do. So if you're laying off people all the time and they're always looking over their shoulder, or there's a good amount of turnover, you're not going to get the quality games that you want to play and stuff that you buy systems for. So for example, like Perfect Dark, where people bought an Xbox Series S and X for Perfect Dark, well, leadership messed that one up. They completely shuttered the studio with the initiative, and Perfect Dark is canceled. So definitely not a good thing and not consumer friendly at all. But what do you guys think about what Mr. Reggie Fils-Aimé had to say and Nintendo's policy here, in addition to everything else that we talked about? Let me know in the comment section below. All right, guys, that wraps it up for this video here. Thank you so much for watching. I do appreciate it. Please make sure you hit that like button, subscribe if you're someone new, click the notification bell, and check out my other Nintendo Switch 2 RPG content and more right here on screen. Thanks for watching, and we'll catch you guys for the next one. Peace.